Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee and frequent guest hosts Hollis Lewis and Lisa Otey, where sports, culture, and community intersect. Join the crew as they dive into engaging conversations with guests from all walks of the sports life. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. And by the all-new historic Coyer Diner in downtown Charleston. Online at CoyerDiner.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee, and I have in the studio with the Queen, Lisa Otey, and Hollis Lewis.
Hello.
Is here with us today again. Man, there's a lot of crazy kind of things going on, like in sports, football,
everywhere, everything, everywhere.
You know? So I'm gonna start with college football. Having they want 5 years of eligibility. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I got to go back. Okay, y'all got to bear with me just a little bit.
But before we start, let me ask a qualifying question. So that means 5 years of play
for eligibility for an athlete.
So, well, what I'm saying is that under the current system, you have 5 years with the red shirt. You have the red shirt,
right,
and then you have the 4 years of eligibility as far as play on the field. So what this is talking about now, and I'm asking the question,
right.
is this saying 5 years of play plus the red shirt? So that means you would have a total of 6?
The way I read it today, and guys, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not the expert either, but what they wanted, it's called 5-in-5 model, and it would do away with red shirt. Freshman. Okay. So you've got 5 years wherever you go or in the transfer, mm-hmm. 5 years to play. And if you're on a team and you don't play that year, you know, you lose that year.
Okay.
So, but they do away with the red shirt, which is, I have a problem with that because that's going to affect your high school kids immensely. Like what's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of these 23-year-old 5-year players that are going to fill spots for, you know, their whole eligibility. And then you've got the high school kids that are going to probably have to go JUCO, or even because they're not going to be red shirt freshmen anymore. They'll have to go JUCO or Division II to prove their abilities. Do you think, Hollis?
Well, let me ask another question.
Okay.
So does the JUCO now, does that count towards that 5 years?
That would.
Yes. So you, if I spend a year in JUCO, that means when I move up, I only have 4 years. 4 years left.
4 years. Now,
that's the way I read it.
That's how it is now functioning without. So I'm going to assume that that's the same process with the 5 year, right? Like,
right.
So if you.
So do kids get, and let me ask another question. Do kids get redshirted that often now in this new system? With 5 years?
Well, that was going to be my point, because I actually like this. I think this makes sense currently, because what happens now is that if you're incoming freshman, you don't necessarily need to go, and you're not like Power 4 ready.
Right.
You can go to, and that's what I tell kids now. I'm a little bit all over the place, but you don't have to go to your dream school initially. You don't have to go D1 initially. If you can go to D2, junior college, heck, even D3, and you can ball out on that level, you're going to get a look, because, as you just mentioned, those Power 4 programs aren't necessarily, they're not looking at the high school kid first. Right. They're looking at the portal first, then high school.
Exactly.
I would say maybe portal, junior college, then high school. So they're not necessarily looking at high school kids first. So I think this is a good opportunity. You can go somewhere and play for maybe a season or two, or maybe even 3. Think if you had 3 years like at State and you were able to really build yourself up, you get some national recognition, your team is winning, then you can be able to step up to go to Marshall or WVU, something like that. So I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. But
let's be West Virginia State and say, are we going to be or do we want to be just a foundation of building the kid who's going to now go from us, going to play for us for a year or two, and then going to spend the rest of his 3 years, his best years, at Marshall or WVU or wherever.
But I say that's what it is. I mean, I'm not saying
I know
that's what it is now, but I think, and again, the way I'm looking at this, the way I'm conceptualizing this is like, it's almost saying like those Division II, the lower Division Ones, it's almost like they're going to be a farm system for the Power Four.
That's exactly what
like
they'll be. Marshall included.
Yeah, Marshall, it's going to be a farm system for those schools.
Unless you're on the top.
Yeah.
Everything below you is going to be a farm system.
It's a farm system. But, and I'll say this, kind of 2 points off of that, is that I think if this is the case, if it's manifests where these lower schools are going to be a farm system, then they have to figure out a way to start to compensate these schools. Because I think,
and that's the problem.
Yeah, because if I got a kid and if I'm losing my best 3 players, and I'm just using state as an example, and they're going to Marshall or WVU, then it has to be some sort of kickback to me to make sure my program has sustainability.
Okay. Now, the problem I have with that, what are we doing with the pay of that player? Because if I'm leaving, in my mind, how I'm thinking, if you come recruit me from wherever, from state, in my mind, bro, what's my money? What am I worth?
What do you mean?
I want dollars. I want NIL.
Well, they all do.
Well, that's individual,
that's
though.
But
based
again,
on your accolades and all that, right?
They're not sure if the policy's going to happen. Like this is still in the works.
Yes.
But they're pretty sure that, the way things look, it's pretty favorable that it's going to happen this way. It seems inevitable to me. I mean, just getting rid of the red shirt, that part of it. And like you said, it's not a totally bad thing. I do think for coaches, it may make things a little more complicated.
For sure.
Because they're not going to be able to, if let's say they bring in a guy, they do recruit somebody from a high school or a JUCO, and they're good enough to play in a year or two, but they're just not good enough right now, and they sit a year. Then they're going to look at the transfer portal.
They lost that year.
And they're going to the transfer portal right away because they're like, well, I'm not playing here. And so you lose that player even though they have potential. So that's a can of worms that coaches have to deal with, right?
But I also think to that point, and that's a very good point, again, what's going to happen is, like, I think as this thing, if it goes through and it plays out, now that kid is going to say, well, look, if I go to WVU and I'm not going to start that year, I'm going to sit, I'm going to lose that year.
Right.
I'm going to go somewhere to play. Right. So I'm going to go to, and again, it may be Fairmont, it may be a D2, it may be a lower D1. I'll go there, play, get my reps up, and then go. And I'm telling you, I think we're going to get to a point where when we talk about the Power 4 schools, and particularly schools in the SEC, where we're not going to have freshmen and sophomore no more.
No.
Like, again, they're going to come in. All those kids are going to come from transfer portal. You'll have like the exceptions, those elite high school athletes, but you're going to have just teams full of juniors and sophomores that come in first-year players.
And there's been talk about that being pretty much where we're at, or practically that's where
practically
we're at.
where we're
at.
Right.
Then, okay, so help me. What are we, between both of you? I'm a really pretty good freshman coming out of high school. I'm senior coming out of high school. What's my options? Who are either one of you all coming knocking on my door?
I would say
probably not.
Probably not. But if I'm advising that kid, again, if you find an opportunity to go to Power 4, and you can just play, and again, that don't mean maybe you start, that means special teams. Right. But I would also say, don't overlook those smaller D1 and those Division II schools, because if you have the work ethic, to your point, if you have the metrics, and if you go there and ball out, that scholarship from Marshall WVU may turn into a scholarship from Georgia and Alabama. So to me, it's about going somewhere that's going to fit your skill set, giving you an opportunity to play and ball wherever you at. Because if you're a Division II All-American and you meet those metric standards of the Power 4, you're going to go.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line. You're going.
And I think also the timing of when they try to implement this rule is crucial. Like if they're looking at this for next year, they need to do it like yesterday. because you've got these football coaches that are going to be dealing with the transfer portal window in January.
Right.
You've got basketball programs getting ready. That would affect all athletics.
Yeah.
If this is something they're playing with and they're thinking about doing it next year, it's almost already too late. But if they're going to do it, they need to do it now or wait another year or two, in my opinion.
I agree with that too. I'm trying to be the parent of that kid that is going to do exactly what you said. Like, it's going to go to a D2, JUCO, with the idea and the hopes that somebody's going to come in and bring me in
right
with pay. What if you run into a situation to where you don't get that pay? You have some people contacting you. So let's say I'm a school that really doesn't have that kind of money. I come in and I say, hey, Hollis, man, I think you could probably play, right now. Soon as you get on the field, you are a guy. And you haven't yet heard from any money. What do you do?
I mean, it's just about earning the money at that point. You may not be able to be in that class to get it off the bat.
But let's just say you've been 2 years. You've already spent your 2 years. Let's say you spent 2 years.
Talking about like at a JUCO or lower?
Yeah, I got 2 years already count against me.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't really, because let's say I wasn't really the star right at the
But
initial.
you're getting some looks.
But you're getting some looks.
You got to play. It's the same thing back in the day. You play your way into a scholarship. You play your way into some NIL. So it's the same concept, different pool of money, but you still pay you still have the opportunity to play your way into some money. And to me, and it goes back to the point that I said earlier, because that situation, I think those situations are definitely going to happen, right?
Yes.
Where, hey, we can offer you a scholarship, but we really can't offer you no money because you ain't really proved. But I also think that the NCAA, which they're just always so late to the party, they seem to be doing a little catching up now. They have to create a revenue model where it comes, a revenue sharing model where it comes all the way down, where D3s, JUCOs, everybody's getting a little pot of that money. And again, your pot of, at state, it may be only we got $250,000 to work with for our athletic program as far as paying our athletes. It may be smaller, but at the very least, you can get some sort of incentive so we can still maintain our programs. And we can get those athletes, to your point, with the hope of moving up. Because I think that's what it's going to be.
See, and I'm thinking, and I'll ask both of you this question. Put yourself in the situation of being one of the best athletes at your school, okay? At your school. And one of us goes somewhere, it's getting paid a ton of money. And the other two legitimately thinks and has the right to think I'm as good, maybe even better. He might have been the third of us. Right. You could have been one, you could have been two. Because recruiting isn't like guaranteed, right? Like it's like we can see talent and scouts may not even talk to you. How are players going to feel sitting there watching and listening to people get this money, and we want to talk about teamwork. We want to talk about team. We want to talk about unity. We want to talk about let's all come together and win a game. I'm probably going to go to a school not because you're there, not because Lisa's there. I'm going because they're paying me. That doesn't help how I can socialize in the school, how I like the school, how I like campus, all those things that we used to.
Loyalty.
We were told though, right? When you go visit a school, you want to like the campus, you want to, all these kind of things. I think that is gone.
Yeah, he's right. I mean,
I think all of that is gone,
and it has been. I really don't think this changes
any of that
aspect of it.
It may have already gone.
I mean, I think that was already gone when NIL was introduced. I mean, I think totally now. I mean, I don't want to sound harsh, but I think most players now are out there for the money. And wherever they get the biggest paycheck is where they'll land. And, that most of those places, though, are also nice places. The ones that are paying the money, they've got a nice campus. They've got nice facilities.
Yeah, that's true.
So, that kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
But, the whole point of this, I just don't, and help me understand, guys, why would you want to eliminate the red shirt year and go to this 5 in 5 plan.
But you got to look at it from like a business standpoint. I don't want to pay you not to work, and then you lose the whole year. I lose the whole year as an employer. Then you transfer on me. So I done paid you a whole year. I got no production out of you on the field or court, and then you leave.
But that was this. I mean, even before money was scholarships. When you redshirted guys, you didn't get any productivity out of them. They didn't play.
I mean, scholarships is relative. I mean, what is the school really losing by giving you a scholarship? You know what I'm saying? They're losing a room. So
once again, it comes down to money.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, and to your point, I think that, it's got to be an emphasis on fit too. Because it's like when you say, it's definitely about the money. You're going to follow the money.
Right.
But it's also got to be an emphasis on, do I fit into this structure, this program, this offense, this defense? So I think that it's got to be maybe a harder look at those things, because if you don't and you find yourself not paying, they will cut you now. Like, it's not like they got to keep you.
Right, they're going to hold you.
Yeah, so they ain't got to keep you.
And see, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because the money may fit you, but you may not fit the program.
Yeah, you got to fit the program.
Right, right.
Yeah. And we've seen whether it's quarterback, whether it's a running back, whether it's a lineman, whatever, we've seen players go places and just not fit. And it doesn't have to be on the football field. It could be campus. It could be school. It could be the socialization of it.
It could be the schemes
everything.
that the coach runs.
Right.
It could, nothing to do with talent.
Any of those kinds of things. So all I heard was, as Hollis recruiting me, was $10 million. And the last offer I got was 5. And so where am I going to go? I'm going 10.
Well, sure you are.
And Hollis is going to give me 10 with the thought process, maybe, even that I'm going to play. I might even go out and play for Hollis and be really good. But I ain't got nothing happening on campus. I don't have nothing hanging out in the dorms. Like, I don't fit. Like, I don't have because everybody, when you go to college, it's important that you can have
a part of a community.
Be part of a community.
Yeah,
and when you lose that, I think we're losing that.
Yeah, but I think we lost that. We're losing that even outside of athletics, when you take like online school and just the accessibility factor versus college experience, because those are sort of two different things. Those are really, we're talking about, when we talk about that college experience, you're talking about academics and education. And I think to that part of it, I think the focus now with the accessibility portion online is strictly just about academics, and with the athletic portion is just becoming about money. So we're losing that experience. True. So like I said, I think maybe in some regards too, this is a way to make sure that if I have 5 years, at the very least, I can go to the school that fits me. It may not be the big time school, but I might be there for 2 and 3 years and enjoy myself and then go get the bag. So maybe this is a way to, sort of supplement that, to give kids more time to figure it out, as opposed to just going from place to place to place based on opportunity and or money. Yeah.
And to your point, Carl, and you made some really good points too, Hollis, but the social aspects of college, those don't exist like they did back when we were in school. Just what you said with technology. I mean, if you go away to school, social media is there. I mean, you have relationships. You can FaceTime people. You can, get online. You can check out their whatever account and see, how they're doing. I mean, kids today, even in high school, I mean, we've seen that, kids cross lines. That there's not the rivalries like there used to be. They're buddies. They all know each other. I mean, I think technology and social media has just kind of changed that whole world.
Yeah.
So am I hearing that social media and a lot of those types of venues or that's accessible is that even attacking the sports realm of?
Sure.
For sure. I mean, there's a kid, and he's a quarterback. He's been to like 6 different schools. And I would guess some of that is just, maybe relationships he has with like coaches or players at those various stops. So I think like just the tradition of what we've known as the collegiate experience collectively, we're like holding on to that by a thread, right? And I think even to the lower schools, they probably are going to offer much more of a collegiate experience than maybe even some of the bigger schools, just because of how it goes
and the numbers
and
students,
everything like that. So I think this could be a way to sort of supplement that, to give kids just a little bit more time to figure it out, so they're not in a rush to transfer. But all in all, things have changed, and it's just a shame because, and I ain't trying to get on my soapbox, but that's why we need to maintain the traditions of college sports. Like we need to maintain our rivalries. We need to make sure that these schools are in the correct conference, because this is all you have now. You know what I mean? When you're not having like schools like UCLA and USC may not play, or WVU and Pitt ain't playing for 3 and 4 years. That's like, we need to make sure that we do everything else to, at the very least, hold on to the traditions that we have.
And so to that point, we know sports is about money.
Yeah.
How do you not continue those types of rivalries, like a WVU Pitt, WVU Penn State, like those kinds of, and even more so, not that it's become or it's really never been a big rivalry, but WVU and Marshall, like there's opportunity there to make money. How do we get away from those? Like, why would you want to get away from that? Like, why would you break from that?
I don't think that most schools want to do that. I think conference realignments have played a huge role in, the impact on rivalry games, because you've got these schools going to different conferences, just like when the Big East dissolved, Pitt went to the ACC and NWU's in the Big 12. And so scheduling becomes more difficult when you're not in the same conference.
Mm-hmm. But gosh, if you know that's going to happen, like, why would you and I get it. Everything is about money, but how do you walk away from those types of opportunities?
But I agree with you though, because I think maintaining tradition will bring in revenue, right?
All the time.
So I think really, I would really, really like to see, again, I keep mentioning their name, the NCAA. And the conferences and the presidents really get together and just have a common sense conversation. Like, everything isn't about short-term money, right?
Right.
Because like I said, like in the next few years, who is WVU playing that we're really passionate about? Like, we're not. And we West Virginians, we're not. We're not passionate about Kansas. I mean, the WVU is rolling and they're doing good. Yeah, we want to see them win, But we're not, like, it's not going to give you the feel like the backyard brawl or playing for the Black Diamond Trophy with VTech. Like, we're not excited about that.
You're not gonna look at when they post the schedule, you're not gonna look, or you're looking for those teams.
You're looking for those games.
Because you want to make sure
you're trying to call your buddies, hey, man, can I get some tickets? They got the blue light.
Like the Pitt game. The Pitt game is the highlight of the season.
That was the highlight. That's what, game 1, 2?
Game 2.
3. It was 3 or 2?
Oh, maybe it was 3. Yeah, it was 3 because they went to Ohio. You're right. You're right.
And without those, I don't care. Like you said, I don't care who's coming in, but if you don't have that natural rivalry that you like, you absolutely hate that team on the other side. We just know that it's that team.
Yeah. So
and we playing them. We hope we win. That's not Pitt. That's not Penn State. You know what I'm saying? That's not who you go in hating that team.
And it's, like I said, it's conference realignments. You've got Penn State in a different conference.
Yeah.
You've got Virginia Tech over here, and Pitt, and Big 12 is way out west.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, it's a matter of logistics and being able to schedule those teams outside of your conference play, and it's hard to do.
And again, that's another, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's like another point. If I'm the college president, if I'm the AD, I'm trying to figure out, hey, we need to regionalize this, because I have to spend money on NIL. I don't have the money to travel. And the thing is, we only think about the football team where you have 5 or 6 away games. Let's think about the basketball team, the softball
unbelievable.
team, the lacrosse teams, the tennis teams, where you got a tennis team having to go to Texas possibly to to play in a match. So I'm thinking like I would really even if we're not going to do the conferences or whatever the deal with that is, I would almost like us to get rid of the conferences and just go to a regional system.
Yes.
Just go to a regional system. This is
That'll
region 1, 2, 3, 4,
happen.
5. But I think we need to do something.
I agree. We need to do something, but it's about money.
How much it costs? I mean, how much does travel cost?
Well, I mean, for the schools, but it's
crazy.
For the conferences. I mean, especially you've got the SEC that takes teams from different conferences. It seems like they're growing every year. It feels like they took teams from the Big 12. They just keep expanding their little kingdom.
But within their region, though. Because they can almost drive. Yeah. LSU can almost drive to every game.
Yeah, but they also have Texas, right?
Yeah, but Texas, that's right there.
Yeah, they could potentially. That could be a
drive.
2 day. Yeah, they could drive one day, rest another day, practice and play.
Yeah.
And they got that kind of money to if they, like I said, if they take a bus, even if they were to drive, they can make that work and still be comfortable.
I bet LSU and Alabama don't got a over 3-hour flight to play a game.
That's probably true.
Now,
I just think West Virginia was an outside fit for the Big 12. The rest of the Big 12 teams are kind of regional, aren't they? And West Virginia, we're way over here on the East Coast practically, and they're all out west. And so, that was a decision maybe that the administration should have thought more about whenever they went into the Big 12. But I don't think they had a choice at the time.
They didn't have a choice. You're right.
They had to go somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. I think just the higher powers need to step in and just kind of figure this thing out. So, like I said, you don't need like USC in the Big 10. They're playing like, come on, man.
All right. Now, so I'm gonna kind of stick a pin in this one. So, do we have student athletes now? Like, are they student athletes? Because when's the last time? Has anybody ever heard of a superstar player that flunked out of school?
No.
Or had some issues? Have you heard of a starter on any school flunk out, ineligible because of his grade?
I can't remember the last time.
So are they better students than we used to be, or is that no longer a thing?
I don't think it's any longer a thing. I mean,
that was tied to scholarship eligibility, not pay, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just pay, because if you're paying this guy umpteen hundreds of thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, they ain't failing. that can't happen.
Okay,
good point.
Okay. But when you say that, are you saying that because I can't fail, or we're not going to let that happen?
I think it's two ways. It's like, you're not going to let that happen. Again, I'm not accusing anybody of improprieties, but what I'm saying is that, you're going to provide the tutors the time necessary for that person, an athlete, to make sure they can get their work done. And like I said, you have accessibility now where a lot of the information is online. So I don't have to go search for this information. I can go ChatGPT, Grammarly, Claude. I can go to the AI and I can go find it. So it's not a matter of me like searching for the information, just choosing which one sounds the best.
And you're going to protect your investment.
And you're going to protect your investment.
So are you making the case too that social media itself,
well, AI, not social media,
okay, AI,
technology in general,
technology in general has taken the pressure off of the school, the coach, the athlete,
for sure.
From even have to even so that's why we don't hear anymore about an athlete who is struggling academically, because that was somewhat of a regular thing back in the day.
But even now,
it's not even a whisper of anything of anybody, and there's got to be somebody who has to be like me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, even outside of AI, if I'm the athletic department, I'm going to invest time in tutors. Like, that's a full-time job. I'm not like, if I'm paying you $50,000 or $40,000 a year, you're going to have a tutor for my athletic department. So you're not failing regardless, because you're going to have all the help and time. If you got to miss practice, if you got to do this to make sure it's straight, it's straight. So I think, and like I said, these are employees now, and as an employee, your responsibility to get your grades if you want to get the money. So if you got six figures hanging over your head as a 19-year-old, you ain't flunking no classes. I can guarantee you that.
And the other part is probably during this season, guys, I mean, they probably do all online classes. I mean, I'm sure that's available to them, and so they just do that, and they can travel to their different games and do their classes online. I mean, they're there for all students, but that's probably what they do in the during their athletic season.
All right, cats and kittens, have you heard? The Warrior Diner is back. Step into the classic vibe of one of Charleston's most historic restaurants. Don't miss the daily Blue Plate specials. Breakfast served all day, every day, and free parking. With an outdoor patio covered for the summer, an elegant basement bar, and customizable event space, 1022 Warrior Street offers an experience unlike any other. Open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit WarriorDiner.com for all the need to know and relive the good times at the Warrior Diner.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, or even wrongfully arrested. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Warrior Diner. Come in on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee. This is Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now, back to the conversation.
So, if you had a choice of playing sports in your era versus sports today, would you prefer to stay in your own era, or would you rather be in today's environment? For me, I would go. I'd stay home. I'd go back into the 70s and 80s. I'm staying there. Because to me, it was clean. It was clear. And I just appreciated the work that you have to put in. Not saying that there's no work put in today. Just saying, I just liked how it was, and the competition, the man-to-man competition, and winning it, losing it, accepting it, and keep working.
You like the system.
I like the system.
Right.
I like the system of what it was before. I would not want to be in today's structure.
Oh, that's a tough one because it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I liked the loyalty of athletes during my time to a school because that school actively recruited them, gave them a scholarship, an opportunity to go to school. There were repercussions if you decided to jump ship. You had to sit out a year. So that kind of deterred a lot of athletes from jumping from school to school at that time. And so they developed relationships. You knew the players' names. You knew who they were because they'd been at that school for 2 or 3 years playing for your team. Perfect example, the Marshall team back in the 90s. I mean, when you had Pennington and all of them together, we've talked about that before. But the other part of it is, you didn't get paid. And, a lot of these guys aren't going to make it to the next level. Let's just face it. Right. And so they need to take the money right now while they can get it to be able to, support whatever kind of future they have outside of football. So, I mean, it's for me, I liked the old school ways because I'm an old school person, but today's generation and today's society, this is the new normal, and they're being paid, and probably rightly so. These colleges, these universities have cleaned up for years, financially on the play of these athletes, and they didn't see a dime. So I don't know, but for me, yes, old school.
For me, I would love to be in this generation. It has nothing to do with money. The access to information. Like, I would go on such deep dives that as a quarterback playing in this generation, once I really understood the mechanics and, just how to operate as a quarterback, if I had this level of information, I'm not trying to progress into where I would be, but if I could just sit on my phone and nerd out and really do deep dives and understand even beyond what my offensive coach or whoever is giving me, trying to just understand it on a deep, almost molecular level, I would be unstoppable. You wouldn't. I would be.
Access is what you're saying. The access.
Access to information.
Yes.
like I said, just on some quarterback stuff, not only just the training stuff, but just understanding coverages, understanding offenses, having the ability to go on my phone to Huddle and break down a defense and look at what that safety's doing for the last 20 games. Like, I would be unstoppable at a brain level on the field.
Okay. To your point, I have to give credit to every piece of my success at the next level, the NFL, to Pete Carroll, who the things that you're talking about, online type stuff, he taught us to do film work somewhat in that same venue. What is the quarterback's movements when he's throwing the ball versus when he's going to hand it off?
Mm-hmm.
What is the receiver? What is he doing when he releases outside? What is he doing when he releases inside? What are the routes that he's running? When you know every time he's gone outside, it's a deep ball.
Yeah.
Then when he goes outside in the game, you know it's a deep ball.
And that's the thing, like, no matter what level of sports you're playing on, so even if you're D2, D3, once you get to that level, everybody talent-wise is pretty much the same. The separator is who can process who has access to the information and who can process the information. And I was good at processing. I just didn't understand how to study it because we just didn't have that sort of thing in the 90s. Right. I didn't understand how to study it from that perspective. But just having access and realizing how to study that information, it was nothing you would be able to do with me.
Basically saying that if you understood who to look at, who to read to try to figure out what covers they're in.
The nuances.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, like, okay, to your point, like, when they're going cover two, their back foot is this way. When they blitzing, their chest is this way.
Yes.
When they, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like those little things. This is how they going to jump this count. This is how they going to do that. Like understanding those little things. And like once you get into those deep interviews with like Drew Brees and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, they break it down from that level. It's not necessarily just this coverage, that coverage. They're looking at like how you align and like how you breathe and how you talk and, you know what I'm saying, whether you looking left or right, they break it down like that. And if you have that level of information and you have the ability to process that information, man, you cannot be stopped.
So let me throw this at both of you guys, talking about being able to, the ability that you have now to access all of the different things with technology, as far as what you're saying, being able to study film, know the different ins and outs of different play calling and such and players. Do you think the role of the head coach has been diminished to a degree because of this access? Do you feel like now the role of the head coach is to be not only a good recruiter to bring in these players, but also more of a motivator rather than a teacher? Because you've got you could be a mediocre coach, but have all the access to all this technology you're talking about to be able to teach players the fundamentals or whatever it is that you want to show them, film study. But that can take the place of like a Pete Carroll, because now you can access all of that online. So really what you want him to do is to be the motivator and to be able to glue the team together. Do you understand the question I'm asking?
I think I'll let you go, but I think it's the exact opposite, because now, like if you're talking about a high school coach, you're talking about a college coach, it's different for the NFL.
Right.
But if you're talking about high school and college, number one, I have to teach you how to watch that. Yeah. And I have to be so detail oriented that I have to make sure everything is almost in sync and perfect. It's sort of like a Nick Saban. Like, I don't necessarily have to do as much on that end, but I want to make sure we line it up correct. I want to make sure everything is perfect. I want to make sure your uniform is perfect. I want to make everything we doing is so detailed, because what can happen is if you do have access to that information, you can start to think you know everything.
Yeah, good point.
And now, not that I want to bring you down, but I want to make sure that we're just hardline focused on the details of everything. And the other end of that, you're almost having to play like, you have to be like a face of a program, because now I gotta as a head coach, I have to generate revenue for my program. So I got to go do commercials. I got to go shake hands and kiss babies. I got to go be at this gala and that gala. So I got to go be at these things so I can build relationships to make sure that I can keep the dollars coming into my program.
You got to be the face of the school.
You got to be the face of the school.
And I think that's a valid point. And I think blaming the head coach for the wins and losses all the time isn't necessarily true, because the expectation that you have of him to do all these things, they don't necessarily give him the opportunity to be down on the field doing all the X's and O's and teaching a position himself. Like,
but you can't do it.
You ain't got time to do that.
You ain't got time to do that. That's where your hires come in.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you may, and I don't know how this, maybe not a good way to say this, but so when you start hiring that buddy on your staff and trying to put him somewhere in the secondary because that's easy to coach, quote, everybody thinks that's easy to coach, or you put a buddy at quarterback, so now Hollis doesn't get all the true information that he could get if it was actually somebody who has studied quarterback, who maybe even played quarterback.
Unfortunately, you can't do that, man. You can't do that nowadays.
No.
There's too much money at play.
Look what happened at Penn State.
Yeah, and look at and at the other end, he was able to get to Penn State, and look at that buyout.
Oh, I know.
That's what 50 million. He got 50 million.
He's
I'm all right today.
He's not struggling.
I'm all right. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm sad, but I'm good.
He's not in the poor line, that's for sure.
Jimbo Fisher. He got like 70
he was
million.
another one.
Yeah.
70 million?
Yeah. It's not
you know
a bad
saying?
deal.
So, yeah, you ain't got time. It ain't no buddy ball. It's too much money on the line.
Well, and I think, too, like we're talking about the money and everything with these coaches, I think the lifeline for if you're at a program like Penn State or Alabama or, USC or somewhere like that, your lifeline is definitely not as long as a Rich Rod at WVU. At least it shouldn't be, because you have access to probably the best players in the nation with NIL funds, with your alumni, with your everything, your facilities. You're not starting from scratch every year. You're not having to you're not losing all 80 players in 1 year at Penn State.
Yeah.
You may lose some, but not compared to like a Marshall or a WVU. Right. So those guys need a little bit longer of a lifeline before we start putting them in hot seats, in my opinion.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so I'm going to ask you this, put you on the spot.
Oh, boy, here we go.
So should the coaches have guaranteed contracts?
Well, I think the buyout sort of acts as that, right? I mean, it's not like I don't think I ain't going to say anybody, but I don't know if we need guaranteed quote-unquote contracts when you have a buyout at the end of it.
Okay.
So you can get compensated because those jobs aren't plentiful.
So let's just put you at West Virginia State, right?
Yeah.
That's your school. You love that school. You're the head coach of that school. Wouldn't it be nice? Because if you go there, you're not necessarily going there, quote, for the money. You're going there because it's your school, you love it, blah, 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 blah. So wouldn't it be nice to think that for a fact you're going to get 4 years in there?
I mean, I would say to Lisa's point, I mean, if you're going to a school like that, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. I'm thinking when you ask the question, I'm thinking more like the bigger programs. But, I mean, if you're going to a smaller program, then, yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But, again, I can't guarantee you a contract if I'm at that smaller school, because if something egregious happens I'm sure that'd be probably within the contract. But if something happens, even if it's not egregious, even if it doesn't, quote, on break contract that I don't like, that's a fireable offense, then now I owe you this rest of this year's, and I maybe can't afford to take the hit and hire a new coach. So financially, it could put me in a bind potentially, is what I'm saying, if I'm the school.
See, I'm thinking some of these bigger schools who when you're talking about these notable name coaches, I can easily see we're going to guarantee you 4 years to give you an opportunity to turn the program around. You can't turn a program around in a couple years.
I think it's still happening. Do you not think it's happening at all?
Not when coaches.
I don't think there's guaranteed contracts per se.
Okay.
And I think when you start talking about a coach who you're talking about firing in 2 years, after 2 years, after 3 years, how many years do you think it's going to take to rebuild a team?
But now, I mean, again, with the transfer portal and all that, that maybe goes from 4 years to 2 years because now I can get those experienced players.
I'm going to challenge you on this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a bad program. You haven't really won. What makes you think that you can call me from WVU to come to state?
Because maybe I can offer you not state.
I'm just
State?
I'm saying state. Yeah,
no, come on,
smaller school is
yeah,
what
that ain't working.
But
okay. I thought you talking about like a bigger program.
So I can be at state, and now I'm going to go to WVU because WVU wants me because of however good I think I had been at Western State. Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, because if you got the money, if I ain't making no money at school A and I'm going to school B and I can make a bigger bag, to Lisa's point.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead.
No. Well, I was just going to make a point about with the portal. I think it's going to be really difficult for those types of coaches that are at that level to climb the ladder, so to speak, because let's just say, they're a great coach and they have a winning season. What's going to happen next year? Here comes the big schools. They're going to swoop in and take your best players. Yeah. And so you had that one winning season, and next year you might, lay an egg because you've got brand new kids coming in. So it's going to be hard for them to show consistent winning abilities to be able to go from point, C to point A because of just the realities of money and players. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You take the top 20 schools, right?
They're just going to trade coaches.
Yeah. You take the top 20 schools, the bottom 20, every great player on the bottom 20, whole goal is to get to the top 20.
Exactly.
And so every other year, I'm going to have to find another one of a potential top 20 player.
But I think it's an art in that too. And it's like you could take those diamonds in the rough because I think what's happening now, we're seeing it in college, I would say sports, is that you're seeing a lot more parity because now Alabama can't stack players. USC, they're not stacking players. Ohio State, you don't get to stack players.
Yeah.
So now I can go and I may be able to find that third string running back at Ohio State or who are there, and I can convince him to come down maybe for a year or two. So I think that, again, it's going to be just like it was an art in recruiting high school kids, it's an art in recruiting that train. Again, I don't know that art, but I'm saying it's an art in doing that too. So I'm thinking even if I lose said players, I can start to replenish once I understand what I'm doing. And if I'm a school with a reputation that I get guys up, then so if I'm a school like if I'm State, for example, and my reputation is that after 2 years with me, then I got guys going Power 5. Then
that's your recruiting tool.
That's your recruiting tool. People start taking notice of that. So it's it's ways to do it.
Isn't that a crazy thought process though that your recruiting trick, if you want to say that, is
I'll get you to a different school.
I can get you to another school.
Hey, I mean,
give me 2 years.
It is what it is.
Give me 2 years at the quarterback, and I guarantee you, I can get you somewhere if you do this.
Yeah, I mean, that could be something. I'm not saying this is specifically, but it's one of them things that
whole landscape of college football is different. Like it's hard to wrap your mind around the way things were versus the way they are now. Because even your coaching tactics, like what Hollis is saying here, which makes total sense, is to get kids there because I can get you to Alabama. I can get you, not to the NFL.
I got a buddy in Alabama I can get you to.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy because it used to be I could get you in the draft. Now it's I'll get you to a better school.
As much as I hate to admit this, that's probably the smartest thing that I think
Is he fired?
Yeah. Well, I'll give him another week. but that is legitimately the most.
It's a good point.
That is the best point and justification of why I would work that way.
Yeah, I mean it could. I'm not even saying it's the best way. I'm just saying like it's a way to do it. So I just quick. I know we about to how much? We're close up. Got time?
Yeah.
Okay, but I wanted to give a shout out. I don't know if you guys watched the WNBA finals last weekend. Asia Wilson, she's had probably the greatest season. And I say almost basketball. She not only did they win the championship, she was the MVP of the league. Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP. And I think she led the league in points, blocks, and maybe another stat. So
That's crazy.
So she just had like one of the greatest seasons. And if you watch the finals, I mean, she was just phenomenal. And it was a pleasure to watch. When we talk about like the old school, new school, we talked about, I'm definitely team old school when it comes to basketball. Like, I hate modern basketball. It's not fun to watch. It's just guys running up and down the court playing out of position. And to see somebody, a big quote unquote, with her back to the basket, doing post moves, making shots, going up and under, and playing defense, body control, she is phenomenal to watch.
Was she MVP?
MVP.
She should be, yeah.
Yeah.
So
phenomenal.
Can men's basketball impact women's basketball to the degree of mocking it, becoming that way? Do you think it is that a problem?
I think
because to your point, I think if I were going to watch a basketball game, it would be a WNBA game.
Yeah, to me, she's the best player in the world. And when I said that, I think people was talking about like women. No, I mean, she's the best player in the world. She's the best basketball player on the planet right now, men, women.
Wow.
And I would say that with
That's
confidence.
strong.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Not to say she's going to go out there and she can beat men. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if in her respective basketball sport and league versus what I'm looking at from, she is the absolute best player on the planet to watch right now.
Okay, so if you can say that, and I don't have a problem with it, she's playing her position old school.
Yeah. I mean,
and you know, she's playing the big man down low. Fundamentals of what we used to know.
She's like Tim Duncan, if I had to compare it to somebody.
Really?
And she can go to the three, she pop it from there, but she got soft touch around 20 feet. And like I said, even the block shot, I think she had like average like 5 or 6 block shots during a championship game series. But even like they was noting like her body control, where she doesn't foul when she's blocking because she understands body control. So she's not pitting her body on you. She's actually playing the ball. So I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. And see, that's why I don't really care for men's basketball, because it's really just everybody shooting past the arc.
I watch it.
And
not NBA.
It's just
not fun.
It's just not fun.
It's not.
It's not fun at all.
It's not entertaining enough to keep you.
Maybe the finals. I do watch the finals.
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah,
regular season, nah.
But the thing about the finals, though, is to me, you got 2 great teams playing, all great players, but in the game itself, it still doesn't reflect the manner in which we think. And again, we're all older enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
it just doesn't look like that. It's just a bunch of folks throwing up 3.
And I would definitely give my age out because I'm stuck on that, because it's just I think to me it's like, you know, the women's game is American basketball. That's what I look at. And I think the NBA is coming Euro basketball. And it's like I said, when you got 7'5" guys popping, you know, 10 or 15 threes a game, it's just like, man, get to the post, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I want to see Shaq. I want to see Patrick Ewing. I want to see Day-Rod. I want to see Tim Duncan. I want to see
Isn't
Kareem.
Shaq hurt? Did I hear that somewhere, that he's not going to start the season or something like that? No. Okay, maybe not. Maybe that's a total mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. That bad on my part. Maybe I'm thinking about Caitlin Clark. Who knows?
Yeah, you might,
And see, being a player who couldn't shoot and was always under the basket, I understood my role. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understood if somebody threw me the ball, my first thought should be, who am I throwing it to? And in that, I think there are a ton of players who fit that description, who now, because of the way the game is, but they're not down there.
But you know what? I think it's just the roles of hoop is just changed now. So it's just not, like I said, and it is what it is, and some people love it. It's just,
if you pass it to me, nobody, the other 4 people are not sure they're going to get the ball back. You know what I'm saying? Because once that pass is there, I can shoot from anywhere. Yeah. And it's okay.
Like I said, it's just, I ain't even hating on it. It just ain't for me. So it's just like, it is what it is.
All right. Well, anybody, I think we're going to run out of time here.
But we got to talk about the coach hitting the player.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
So when did that happen? That was when the guy dropped the ball?
Yeah. Yep.
So he was upset with him, right? Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
Well, I don't think.
Well, hold on. Let's set it up. So a player, it's not this week, but last week for the Falcons, he's running touchdown. He's actually a beautiful 75-yard run up the gut. And before he gets to the end zone, he drops the ball, comes to the sideline. His coaches, reaming him out. And the coach strikes him in the gut about 2 to 3 times. And the coach ends up getting,
it was that severe?
Yeah, he hit him 2 or 3 times. And then the coach ends up getting fined $100,000. So
okay. So $100,000. Okay, sounds like a lot.
For a coach.
It sounds like a lot. But for every player who saw it, is never going to get past it.
Think so?
Never going to get past it. You can lose your team for a call that you make on the field.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can lose you can lose the team for a whole lot of other reasons, more so than what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you start, because the very first thing you're going to say, very first thing I'm going to say, very first thing Lisa's going to say when we saw it is, he better never put his hand on me.
But so as a former NFL player, like when you saw that, kind of just what went through your mind?
That could have never happened back in the day.
But okay, that's my point though.
Yes.
So you don't.
What would have been the repercussions?
Yeah, but y'all don't think that happened? People laid hands on people back in the day.
There was grabbing, face mask, cussing you out. There was all of that. You ain't pushing me like a kid.
Well, he
you ain't like you
he
when you
with a gut shot.
Yeah.
Nobody created like a situation that looked like you're starting an altercation.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
It was
like within the football.
It was in the football.
Guidelines.
It was all in the football realm, right? You know, you've used to get cussed out. You're used to somebody up in your face cussing you out, grab you by your shoulder pads.
That's true. That's actually a good point. That's true.
You're used to that.
Yeah.
But you ain't pushing me.
It wasn't a push. It was a strike.
Well, you can't push me. You can't strike me. You can't swing at me.
He swung on him. Yeah, for sure.
So it was because he dropped the ball, right?
Yeah,
but before he got to the goal line, right?
Yeah. And I understand that's a horrible situation. You know, that's a horrible situation.
He wasn't following the letters and logos saying, as if you guys heard that. Yeah.
But I'd say when I looked at it though, like when I first saw it, I almost didn't see a problem with it because again, in the era of football that I played in, not that a coach would, gut punch you, but you would get hands laid on, like whether you grabbing, little forearm, little chest bump.
It looked okay.
Yeah, but after I thought about it, my mind kind of went to if somebody gut punch you and then that player reacts just out of a natural reaction, then we're having a different conversation. So I don't think you can do, and particularly like NFL, you can't do that with grown men.
Imagine doing that to Lawrence Taylor.
Well, you ain't gonna do that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just when I think about it, I'm thinking about like you have to know what player that you're going to do that to. Because if you're walking down a sideline, there's some dudes that Keith Millard, a buddy of mine, played, was a defensive player of the year, blah 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 blah. But it's crazy. You are not thinking about putting hands on him.
So you saying like it was more intentional about who he did that to?
I think
he thought about that.
I think he had to have thought about it because there's some players on your team when it comes to football.
Yeah, I could think even at State, I know some players.
Exactly.
You don't mess with.
I ain't going up to Charles Smith and slap him across the face with his helmet. Right?
I was thinking like TJ or Omar.
Yeah, we ain't. You ain't doing that because you
rest in peace, TJ.
You're creating a situation that is
toxic.
Yeah, because other players see it, and the first thing you're going to say, Hollis, when you see me hit somebody else. Oh, he better never hit me.
But so let me ask this: Do you think the sort of the punishment fit the crime? Do you think $100,000 fine for the coach was enough?
No.
You don't think it was enough?
No.
I personally thought he should have been suspended.
He didn't have a suspension.
No,
that should have been accompanied with a suspension for at least one game.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm not even comfortable with one game. Because I think here's the thing. I think this is too far out of, because what if I'm a coach on a sideline, I'm making $7-8 million. That $100,000 ain't gonna do nothing to me. So I can slap you the next time.
But you ain't got.
You'll learn your lesson from that.
Yeah, because that's scary to think about. But if that dude would have reacted, he'd have laid that coach out.
Mm-hmm.
I would see, and I don't think back in the day, I don't know if you take every starting team across the league, offense and defense, especially special teams, okay, and say you can slap one of those guys that are out there, one of the 11 on any one of your starting teams, that there's not going to be something coming back at you. But the thing is,
y'all old school coaches, they was some mean dudes.
But they didn't handle you guys with kid gloves.
No, they didn't.
Sure.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
You've told us that.
Yes. No, they didn't.
My legs broke, Coach. Let's put some tape on it and get back out there.
But it ain't coming to them putting hands on you like that. Grabbing your face mask and stuff like that. All that stuff was all good. Cussing you out, all that.
So
good.
What do you think the proper punishment should have been?
I think it should have been. My thing is fire.
Oh, you said like that?
Fire. Done.
Dang.
Let somebody else pick you up. Because I'm going to show you.
We've pushed Mr. Lee's button here.
Well, let me ask you this. What's the most important thing to you? Your team or your coach?
I mean, it's the team.
It's the team. So if a team if a player did something like that, let's say let's flip it. Let's say he slapped the coach.
Yeah, he'd be gone.
He'd be gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. He wouldn't even.
It would definitely be some games suspended.
Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. And I say multiple games.
And a game, $100,000, or no, not just $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if
it was a repeat offense, I don't know. I mean, I think everybody gets caught up in the moment. There's so much emotion in the game of football. I'm not saying that makes it right or wrong.
What does a coach tell you? Coach tell you you cannot let your emotions dictate what you do.
Well,
man, I think because I ain't really look at it from that perspective, just as far as losing the locker room. But I mean, I don't know. All in all, I think it was he should have definitely been gone a game. I would definitely say that. At least the game. You know, because it's it's just scary to think about if that player just would have naturally reacted. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what would have happened.
Yeah.
Because how would you how are you going to react to that?
It's different because, like I said, I told you, when I first seen it, I didn't really, that ain't a big deal. Because not that a coach has ever done that to me, but a coach has gotten physical. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm from that last era of football where coaches did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't necessarily comprehend it in that way. But now that I sit back and thought about again, to your point, that wasn't a quote unquote football move. That was you punched me in my gut.
It was the context of it, because you've seen players come off the field that's had a really big, great play, and the coaches push at their chest, other players do. So it was the whole context of it. And but by the way, I wanted to correct what I said earlier when I said Shaq. We've been talking old school. You guys looked at me like I was crazy. It's been a long day, and I actually meant LeBron James. I apologize to the audience listening because I had a total brain moment. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything. I was just like,
I was like, did I just say Shaq? So now I've sat over this whole conversation.
We went right past
that. I appreciate that, but I always call out my mistakes. So, we'll have those.
All right, well, let's get out of here.
I'm fired again, right?
Yeah, you're fired again. You get with Hollis and y'all get together and hang out. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being here, and we're going to get out of here.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Quarrier Diner. Comment on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topic on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee.